Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Tuesday, April the 20th. We got a short Tuesday slate. We just got 5 games today. Hopefully, this will be a little bit of a quieter day, because yesterday, Monday's slate was just so crazy. I mean, especially late in the day, close to lock, like dudes were just getting ruled out left and right. Monday's slate was super crazy, super hectic. Hopefully, we'll have a little bit of a quieter day today, a little bit of a less stressful day. But yeah, we got 5 games to break down. We're going to go team by team, go through each game, talk about each team on this 5-game slate. But before we do get started with the breakdown, guys, as always, I would appreciate it if you would hit that like button down below. And if you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well. And click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also do get notified every time I live stream. Should be live this afternoon, probably around 4:30, 5 o'clock Eastern time. We do have a little bit of a later lock today. Lock's 30 minutes later than normal, so I'll probably go live around 5 Eastern. If you guys do want to check my YouTube channel then, should be live breaking down the slate, answering all your guys' questions, talking through everything once again in the live stream. But yeah, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and let's go ahead and take a look at tonight's slate. So we'll start off with the Orlando and Atlanta game. Looking at the Magic side today, there are definitely some guys I have interest in from the Magic. They're kind of shorthanded right now. They are missing some key guys. Terrence Ross is out once again for this game. Otto Porter remains out. James Ennis is out again, and Michael Carter-Williams remains out. I think the big ones, though, especially like in the backcourt, Terrence Ross and Michael Carter-Williams are both out, which definitely impacts a guy like Cole Anthony. At 6K, I think Cole Anthony is someone we can definitely look to, even at this price point. Last game without MCW and without Terrence Ross, we saw Cole Anthony play 34 minutes. He did start the game before that against Toronto as well. He has started their last 2 games in place of MCW, put up 35 and 39 DK points. He's been around a fantasy point per minute player with, Vooch, Aaron Gordon, all these guys off the floor. Obviously, Vooch, Gordon, Fournier no longer on the team, so Cole Anthony should definitely be productive when he's on the floor. I expect the minutes to be there. With Terrence Ross being out, that's even better for Cole Anthony. Just allows him to get even more usage. At 6K, I still do have a lot of interest in Cole Anthony today. I think he's my favorite play from Orlando overall. I like him a lot on Yahoo as well, coming in at $19. He also does still feel a little bit too cheap on Yahoo. But then, there's some other guys we can look to from the Magic. Wendell Carter at 6,600. Not the biggest fan of. He kind of feels appropriately priced. With Mo Bamba, back and playing, we're probably just going to get 30 minutes from Wendell Carter rather than, 32, 34. The price is getting up there. He doesn't really stand out to me at 6,600. Chuma OKEKE, I'm fine with at 5,500, but I don't really feel like Chuma's a guy you ever have to have. He's just not. He doesn't have a ton, or I shouldn't say this, he's got upside, but not a super high upside player. Chuma's just never someone you feel like you have to have. At the end of the night, rarely do you see, Chuma in the winning lineup. Most nights he's going to give you 25 to 30. He did have that 41 DK point game against Denver, but at 5,500, he feels appropriately priced. Could he give you a good score at this salary? Yes, but not someone I feel like I have to go to at 5,500. But I do want to talk about some of the value that we have from Orlando. So last game, we did see Dwayne Bacon move into the starting lineup, and he was really productive. He played 33 minutes, had 34 DK points. Without Terrence Ross, I think that definitely benefits Dwayne Bacon. That definitely secures his minutes, and he should get more usage with a high score, a guy that will have the ball in his hands a lot, like Terrence Ross. Getting him off the floor is definitely beneficial for Dwayne Bacon. We saw that stretch when basically all those guys were out for Orlando. Dwayne Bacon was consistently putting up 25, 30 DK points a night, was playing pretty big minutes. At 4,200, he does feel too cheap today. The price tag really didn't even move on DK. After playing 33 minutes last game, it seems pretty clear that he's going to be a guy that gets 32, 34 minutes a night, while Ross and Ennis both remain out. And obviously, they're once again out tonight. So second favorite play from Orlando is going to be Dwayne Bacon. Do like him a good amount on both sides. He's also super cheap on Yahoo, $12. If you need a cheap shooting guard, I think Dwayne Bacon stands out as one of the better values at the shooting guard position. But that's probably it from Orlando. Definitely Cole Anthony and Dwayne Bacon are my 2 favorite plays here, followed by, OKEKE, but really it's just Anthony and Bacon for me, the guys I like most. I know Gary Harris started last game, but Gary Harris just not really a high upside guy, never someone I really feel like I have to roster. So I don't think I'm going to him, even if he does start. So we can go ahead and move on to the Atlanta side. Looking at the Hawks here, there really isn't much that stands out to me. Clint Capella at 9,100 doesn't really stand out as a top stud today. There's other guys I'd rather play. You got, Julius Randle. You got Kyrie without KD and without Harden. You've got Cat in a good matchup. You've got the Clippers guys you could go to. You got CJ McCollum without Damian Lillard. Like, I think these are studs I'm going to rather get to over Clint Capella. So I don't think I'm going to pay $9,100 for Capella today. Trae Young for $9K I have some interest in. There's other studs I prefer over Trae Young that we're going to talk about later. But Trae definitely in play at $9K. Did have a huge game last game against Indiana. 62 DK points in 35 minutes. After he had that stinker against Milwaukee, he bounced back in a big way in their previous game. We know Trae Young can go for 50, 60 any night. At $9K, he definitely, I would say definitely looks good at this price point. He's probably my favorite play from this Atlanta team. John Collins is back, so that makes me less interested in Clint Capella. I already don't really like Capella at his price point. Now that John Collins is back, definitely don't really want to go to Capella either, or even with Collins back. So really, I think from Atlanta, it's just Trae Young for me. Not too much else. Bogdan, I don't really like at his price. He feels too expensive. So yeah, it's just Trae Young and nothing else from Atlanta for me. Moving on to the Charlotte side, talking about the Knicks and the Hornets today. So looking at the Hornets here, pretty important injury to talk about with Devontae Graham, who is once again questionable. Obviously, this is a pretty impactful injury. Graham starts, plays around 32, 34 minutes a night. So getting him off the floor is going to give more minutes to guys like Cody Martin, Caleb Martin, Brad Wanamaker. It's also going to give more usage to a guy like Terry Rozier. And we've seen over their last 2 games without Devontae Graham, Terry Rozier's been balling. 52 DK points against Brooklyn in 40 minutes, 39 minutes against Portland last game, 69 DK points. I don't know what Draftkings is doing, but they didn't even adjust the price on Terry Rozier. He's still just $8K today. And on Yahoo, he's pretty affordable still there, $36. I think Terry Rozier, if Devontae Graham is out again, Terry Rozier is going to be someone I look to pay up for. He would become one of my favorite plays on the slate for sure. If Devontae Graham plays, I think you can still consider Rozier, but he wouldn't be nearly as much of a priority if Graham were to get ruled out again. Miles Bridges at $7,500. With his price where it is on DK, I don't have a ton of interest in him. We know he's going to play big minutes, 38 to 40 minutes. I feel like he's kind of appropriately priced, if not a little bit too expensive. On Yahoo, though, I would be a lot more likely to play Miles Bridges over there because he's $22. He's at small forward, which is always a tough position to fill on Yahoo. I do like Miles Bridges a lot on Yahoo at $22, but I'm a lot less interested in him on DK. Devontae Graham, if he plays, I think at $6,200 you could look to, assuming that he's not limited. PJ Washington did return last game, but he came off the bench. Did play 34 minutes, though, and had 45 DK points. He was really productive. I'd assume that PJ Washington's going to move back into the starting lineup today. They went with Vernon Carey in the starting lineup last game, but Carey got into some early foul trouble and really didn't play much after that. It was clear that PJ Washington was the center they were going to use. And before PJ Washington had gotten injured, they were starting him at center and playing him pretty big minutes. So if PJ Washington moves back into the starting lineup and starts at center here, at $5,400, I like him a lot. He would probably be my second favorite play from Charlotte behind Terry Rozier. Probably not going to anyone else, though, on the Hornets. The Martin twins, I'm really only going to consider if Graham is out. Vernon Carey, I guess if he starts again, you could go to, but I would assume that PJ Washington is most likely going to move back into the starting lineup today. Zeller barely been getting minutes at all. Last game played 21. I think he probably would have got less than that had Vernon Carey not gotten in foul trouble. Bismack Biyombo's not even been in the rotation. Even with Devontae Graham out, Brad Wanamaker hasn't really been playing much. So for me, when it comes to this Hornets team, definitely my 2 favorite plays. If Devontae Graham is out, love Terry Rozier. Really like PJ Washington if he moves back into the starting lineup. And then on Yahoo, I do have a good amount of interest in Miles Bridges at his price tag. And obviously, Rozier, PJ Washington, you can also consider on Yahoo. But that probably does it from the Hornets side. Now moving on to talk about the Knicks. Really, it's just Julius Randle here for me. I'm probably not considering any other Knicks outside of Randle. Alec Burks has been out. He was out their last game with COVID protocols. He's out again. With him out, I don't know if that really changes a ton. Like RJ Barrett last game, played 36 minutes but only had 24 DK points. Derrick Rose off the bench, he played 35 minutes, did have 38 DK points. I would say that Burks being out probably benefits Derrick Rose the most. So if you want to consider Derrick Rose at $5,100, I don't mind him at all. He is someone that we know can be productive on a point per minute basis. Is a guy that most likely is going to average around a fantasy point per minute. And I would assume that his minutes do see a little bit of an increase with Burks out. So Derrick Rose I do have some interest in. Julius Randle, though, I think is my favorite play from the Knicks. $10,100 feels a little bit expensive, but we know the massive upside that Julius Randle has. Dude's been playing monster minutes lately, been getting around 40 minutes a night. This is a Knicks team that, they're going to make the playoffs most likely. They're fighting for a playoff spot. They're going to continue to give their starters huge minutes. So I expect we see Julius Randle play, 40 minutes a night in close games. We know he's a very productive player. When he's on the floor, he's a guy that gives you, legit triple-double upside, can just contribute in all categories. He's just been so good this year. So even at 10,100, I have no problems paying up for Randle today at this price point. I think him and Derrick Rose are the two guys I'm going to be looking to from the Knicks today, and probably nothing else outside of those two. So we can go ahead and move on to the next game, Brooklyn and New Orleans. So this one, super, super appealing just due to the fact that both these teams play at a relatively fast pace. I'm pretty sure this game has a super high total right now. We don't have a total yet, but I would assume that when we do get a total on this game, it's probably going to be up there with Minnesota, Sacramento in terms of highest total on the slate. Should see a very high-scoring game here, so there's a lot to like on both sides. Starting off on Brooklyn, Kyrie Irving, really the guy that stands out at 9,900. Obviously, James Harden, Kevin Durant are both going to be out today, so with two of the three stars missing from Brooklyn, that's going to lead to Kyrie just having a monster workload today, a ton of usage for Kyrie. At 9,900, in a good matchup against the Pelicans, he is my favorite stud on the slate by far. He's the guy that I definitely want to pay up for today. I do like him a lot on Yahoo at $47. That feels kind of expensive, but Irving obviously can go for 55, 60 DK points. Has massive upside when you take Harden and KD off the floor. I'm pretty sure the game against the Sixers, if I'm not mistaken, Harden and KD were both out that game. You got 59 DK points in 33 minutes from Kyrie. Kyrie's just been a guy that, I haven't really played him much this year when the Brooklyn bigs, when the big three, when they're all healthy. Rarely do I play Kyrie, but obviously when you have a scenario where both KD and Harden are out, that's just going to lead to monster usage for Kyrie, going to lead to him, having a monster workload. And at 9,900, he can easily pay off this price point, can go for 60 DK points, especially in a really good matchup against the Pelicans. So love Kyrie here, stands out as a top play from this Brooklyn team. And then there's some other guys I think we can consider. Blake Griffin did start at center last game, played 26 minutes, had 23 DK points. The upside on Blake Griffin at this point is just not that high. Rarely this is someone that you feel like you have to go to. But in a good matchup against the Pelicans, if we do get Blake Griffin starting at center, he probably plays around 25 to 30 minutes. At 5K, definitely viable if you do want to go there. Bruce Brown continues to play well, and I think without Harden and without KD, that's going to lead to Bruce Brown being more productive than normal. We saw him have a good game last game against Miami, played 30 minutes in the starting lineup, had 30 DK points. I'm totally fine with Bruce Brown. I would say that Bruce Brown's probably my second favorite play from Brooklyn behind Kyrie. He's the guy that I have most interest in outside of Irving. Jeff Green, I don't mind either at 4,800. We've seen him be more productive whenever, KD and Harden are both out, which is obviously the case today. I don't mind him at 4,800 either. Probably not going to anyone else, though, on Brooklyn outside of those two or three guys. Really, I think my two favorite plays from this Brooklyn team are definitely Kyrie Irving and Bruce Brown. Don't mind Jeff Green, don't mind Blake Griffin, but Irving and Brown are the two guys that really stand out. Don't think I'm going to anyone else, though. DeAndre Jordan had that really good game against the Sixers. He started that day, but then only played 17 minutes, 15 DK points against Charlotte, and then I'm pretty sure in the game against Miami Sunday, he didn't even play. He was a DMP, so really can't go to unless DeAndre Jordan starts, which I don't think is going to happen. Unless he starts, I'm not considering him, so that probably does it for this Brooklyn team. Moving on to talk about the Pelicans. Really, for me, when it comes to this Pelicans team, it's really just the top two guys, Zion and Brandon Ingram. Zion at 9,700. I think you can rank him up there with guys like Kyrie, Julius Randle, some of these other studs we're going to talk about. He's definitely towards the top of my radar when it comes to stud options today. Great matchup against Brooklyn. Should be a very fast-paced game. 9,700 feels like a lot for Zion, but he has shown the upside to pay off this price point. This is someone that can put up 55, 60 DK points. Clearly just going to dominate the usage on this team. Been a super productive player this year on a point-per-minute basis. I like Zion a lot today. Don't mind Brandon Ingram either. If he was a little bit cheaper, I'd have more interest at 8,400. Kind of feels priced appropriately, but the upside I think on Brandon Ingram is definitely high in a really good matchup like this against Brooklyn. But Lonzo, Eric Bledsoe, Steven Adams, I'm not going to anyone else on this New Orleans team outside of Zion and Ingram. Zion I like a lot on Yahoo. If you want to pay up for power forward there, he looks like a top option at $46. Brandon Ingram at $35 on Yahoo I think looks a lot better. He's small forward. Like I said, that's always a tough position to fill. So those two guys I like a lot on Yahoo as well. But moving on to the next game, the Clippers and the Blazers. So on the Clippers today, I really don't see much I like. Paul George and Kawhi Leonard I think you can definitely play. Neither one stand out as top studs for me, though. Like, I'd rather play Kyrie, I'd rather play Zion, I'd rather play Julius Randle. I'm going to rather play Cat and De'Aaron Fox. Like, I would say Kawhi and PG are definitely towards the bottom of my list when it comes to stud options. But they're viable, as always. But I'm not considering any other Clippers outside of those two. You know, with Kawhi and PG both playing now, that really kills the value on Reggie Jackson, Marcus Morris, all these other guys. Overall, there's not much, though, that I like from this Clippers team. If I had to play anyone, it'd be the big two, Kawhi, PG, but neither one stand out to me on this slate. Now, on the Portland side, there's a lot more to like here. CJ McCollum at 8,900, I do have a lot of interest in today. We do know that Damian Lillard is once again out. You know, CJ McCollum, these last two games without Lillard, hasn't really had that good a game. Like against San Antonio, 38 minutes, 44 DK points. Against Charlotte, 40 minutes, 42 DK points. But like the game against Charlotte, he shot the ball really poorly, 36% from the field, 25% from three. If he even makes like 50% of his shots in that game, he's probably going to finish with 50-plus DK points. We know the upside on CJ McCollum is definitely, you know, it's through the roof when you take Lillard off the floor. He's going to play a ton of minutes. As long as this game stays close, I think we get 38, 40 minutes from CJ McCollum. He's going to dominate the usage, going to have the ball in his hands a ton without Lillard. Even at 8,900, and even though he's had two, you know, relatively disappointing performances over these last two games without Lillard, I still think CJ McCollum is a top pay-up option today. He's a guy that I have a lot of interest in from this Portland team. Norman Powell, I think we can also look to. Without Damian Lillard, he definitely benefits. He's also played huge minutes over these last two games. And very similar to McCollum, you know, Norman Powell's kind of been underperforming lately without Lillard, but we know the upside is a lot higher for him as well when you take Lillard off the floor. Lillard's just such a high-usage player. Getting him off the floor is going to allow a guy like CJ McCollum, Norman Powell to benefit. So I still do have a good amount of interest in Norman Powell today. And then Enes Kanter, I think, stands out as a top play at center. We already know that Jusuf Nurkic is out, so I'm expecting Enes Kanter to move back to the starting lineup. I'm pretty sure last game that Nurkic was out was against Detroit. Not saying we're going to get a similar performance today, but Nurkic, when he was out against Detroit, Enes Kanter started, played 37 minutes, had 70 DraftKings points, 24 points, 30 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal. Like Kanter, we know, can just go out there and just stuff the stat sheet. He's a guy that can legit give you 20 and 20. He's a great scorer, a great rebounder. He's a guy that's just, when he gets minutes, he's someone that you do want to play most of the time because normally when he gets the minutes, he's going to score anywhere from like 35 to 40 DK points. 6,100, the price tag was not adjusted for Nurkic being out today. If we're going to get anywhere around mid-30s minutes from Enes Kanter, he should easily be able to pay off a $6,100 salary. So I think when you do factor in price point, Enes Kanter is probably my favorite play from this Portland team. Love him on Yahoo as well at $21. I think he stands out as a top center option on Yahoo as well. So I do really like Kanter with Nurkic out. I do have a lot of interest in both CJ McCollum and Norman Powell. With Lillard out, Carmelo finally had a good game last game off the bench. 28 minutes, 35 DK points. You know, I think he also benefits without Lillard. Should get more opportunity to score off the bench. If you want to go to Carmelo Anthony at 4,400, I don't mind him either. He's more of a lower-owned tournament option, but is a guy that has upside, obviously. And then Anthony Simons continues to get the minutes, played 30 minutes in back-to-back games without Damian Lillard. You know, he didn't have that great of a game last game against Charlotte, only 16 DK points, but he's 3,800. If he's going to play 30 minutes, he's a good value in my opinion because minutes are key. And right now, Simons is getting the minutes with Damian Lillard out, so I do have a lot of interest in him as a value. And then I guess we need to talk about Rondae Hollis-Jefferson. So Rondae Hollis-Jefferson did start last game, only played 22 minutes, only had 14 DK points. You know, if he starts again, he was a core play for me last slate when it was announced he was starting. Minimum salary, thought he, you know, was, I would say that, you know, dating back to his time with Toronto and other teams, like RHJ has always been a relatively productive player when he does get the minutes. So, you know, once it was announced he was starting, I did like him a lot on that slate. Obviously, he didn't have that great of a game, only 14 DK points in 22 minutes. But if RHJ does start again, 3,400, you're getting a guy that's going to start and probably play around mid-20s minutes, maybe closer to 30 minutes. I think one of the reasons he lost a few minutes was because of how well Carmelo was playing. If Carmelo doesn't knock down his shots like he did last game, that probably is going to mean that Rondae Hollis-Jefferson is getting more than 22 minutes. At 3,400, you know, he's another value play we can consider. So there's a lot to like on this Portland team. Really just going down the list, McCollum, Powell, Kanter, Anthony, Simons, RHJ if he starts. All 6 of those guys are in play for me. Obviously, you're not going to play all 6 of those guys in one lineup, but you know, I would say my favorite plays from Portland are definitely Kanter, McCollum, and Powell. But I don't mind Anthony, Simons, RHJ as, you know, value options if you need some value. Those are guys I'll definitely be looking to for cheap options. But we can go ahead and move on to the last game of the night, Minnesota and Sacramento. So very similar to the Brooklyn-New Orleans game. This is also one that should see, a ton of points scored. You got two teams that do play at a really fast pace. So looking at the Minnesota side here, for me, Karl-Anthony Towns at 10,600, I think he's definitely a top pay-up option just because the matchup is so good against Sacramento. These teams did play a week or two ago. Cat didn't have that great of a game, only had 52 DK points in 36 minutes, but we know the massive upside that Cat has. The matchup's fantastic here. I think he is a top pay-up option. Still would probably prefer YRIE over him for cheaper. It would be close between him and guys like McCollum, Zion. Those are guys I really like today, but I do have a good amount of interest in Cat here. I think there is enough value to where you can get him in if you do want to pay up for Cat. Obviously, we have a lot of good center plays. Kanter, we're going to talk about Whiteside. You got, Zion, you can play at center. You got PJ Washington, Julius Randle. Like, there's a lot of good center options, but I definitely have interest in Cat here. Anthony Edwards, I don't mind either at 7,100. But I'm probably not considering any other guys on Minnesota outside of Cat and Edwards. D'Angelo Russell just not getting enough minutes. He's been coming off the bench and only playing about 20 to 22 minutes, so tough to really roster him until we see him play more than 20 minutes. Ricky Rubio, he's kind of seen his minutes fluctuate with Russell getting more minutes off the bench. So for me, it's really just Cat and Edwards. Cat, though, I think is the main guy that I'm looking to from Minnesota. Moving on to the Sacramento side, though. De'Aaron Fox at 9,800. You can throw him up there with YRIE, with Zion. Like, there's a lot of good stud options today. It's hard to go wrong with any of these guys we've talked about. De'Aaron Fox, though, I do like a lot here at 9,800. There's a good amount of point guards I like today. YRIE, Cole Anthony, Terry Rozier I like at guard if Graham's out. But I think De'Aaron Fox is someone I'm also going to be looking to pay up for today at 9,800. Fantastic matchup here against Minnesota. Obviously, fast-paced game, a matchup where De'Aaron Fox should thrive. When these teams did just play a couple weeks ago, 38 minutes from De'Aaron Fox, 55 DK points. The guy's just been so good, been so productive, been someone that can consistently give you 50-plus DK points a night. And although he does feel expensive at 9,800, in my opinion, he still can easily pay off this price point because he's playing 38 to 40 minutes a night. He's getting a ton of usage, taking a ton of shots. The matchup's fantastic. Really like De'Aaron Fox as well at 9,800. And then looking at other guys from Sacramento, I would say my next favorite play from the Kings is going to be Hassan Whiteside. So Whiteside did start last game, which was kind of surprising. Damian Jones was the guy they were using in the starting lineup, but they actually did move Whiteside into the starting lineup last game. He only played 19 minutes though, so this is one I'm going to be interested to see where Whiteside's ownership comes in at. I don't have access to ownership projections, but I watch a lot of content around the industry. I'll kind of see what other people are saying about Whiteside. If Whiteside's going to be anywhere near, low, I don't want to say low ownership, but if he's going to be like under 15, 20% owned, like if we get Hassan Whiteside starting again, I'm willing to take a shot on him. I know he only got 19 minutes last game, but this feels like a matchup where they're going to need his size against Cat. Like, they can't really go small against Karl-Anthony Towns because Karl-Anthony Towns is just going to abuse them. So Whiteside at 5,800, if he starts again, if we get anywhere near like mid-20s minutes from Whiteside, I mean, this is someone that can legit put up 50, 60 DK points. Like, Whiteside has that slate-breaking upside. He's a guy that anytime he's going to get like anywhere near 20-ish minutes and he's low owned, Whiteside's always someone I want to roster. So even though his price is up to 5,800, and even though he only played 19 minutes last game, I still like Hassan Whiteside a lot today. He's definitely my favorite play overall from Sacramento, especially if he does wind up coming in at low ownership today. On Yahoo, he looks even better over there because he's super cheap, only $12. I think Whiteside's a clear top value play on Yahoo, but love Whiteside here if he starts again. I know he disappointed last game, but I'm willing to go back to him just because this is someone that we know has massive upside when he winds up getting the minutes. And at least with him starting, we know he's going to get that opening stint. And if he comes out and he's playing really well, there's a good chance that Luke Walton does wind up giving him, 26, 28 minutes. And if he does wind up getting anywhere near like 26, 28 minutes, I mean, this is someone that can legit put up 50 DK points in that time. So love Whiteside today. Love De'Aaron Fox. Healed Healed, Barnes, Halliburton. I'm probably not going to them though. Really for me on Sacramento, it's just De'Aaron Fox and Whiteside, and I think that's probably it. So that does it for all 5 games today, guys. Appreciate you watching the breakdown. Hope you did enjoy. If you did, hit that like button down below before you do get out of here. Be sure to hit that subscribe button as well and click the notification bell so that way you get notified every time I upload. You also do get notified every time I live stream. Should be back again Tuesday afternoon, probably around 5 o'clock Eastern time for another live stream. So if you guys want to tune in to my YouTube channel, then I'll be live breaking down the slate, answering all your guys' questions, talking through everything once again. But good luck tonight, guys. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.